Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. In the first segment, oh my God, we talked to David Copeland-Smith, and we also talked a little coronavirus. Got it at the same time. He doesn't have it.
Exactly.
But we talk about it.
We don't want to disclose anything.
Also, we leave America and become members of the People's Republic of China.
Okay, look, we're just trying to get in China's good graces. Yes, David Copeland-Smith of Beast Mode Soccer. So make sure we say that as well. And in the second segment, we are joined by two guests as well. Two. We're talking to Paul Tenorio of The Athletic.
Yeah.
We talk some. We get in the weeds of CBA.
We get deep.
Meaning we're on weed as we're talking about the
only way to understand it, dude.
And we're also joined by Mike Magee, MLS veteran, absolute MVP, MLS Cup winner with the LA Galaxy.
In the studio, and he brought his booze.
It's just what a every guest should be on notice going forward. So all this and more today on the Cooligans.
Hi, I'm Mike Magee, owner of Sneaky Fox Vodka, and you are listening to the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
There it is.
Come on.
A good, I can drum a little bit.
Yeah.
So people don't know. It's not just, I'm not just smacking my thigh all day
he started with spoons. And then he's working his way up.
Like I'm sitting on a porch in Georgia.
Yeah.
No, it's...
One day when we first started doing the podcast, Christian's like, I'm a pretty good drummer. And I'm like, oh, how'd you learn in school? And you said, no, the game Rock Band.
You know it.
And I was like, you can't drum.
I'm an avid drummer. Yeah. I'm actually pretty good.
Questlove is like, you know how to play the song? Yeah, could you just tell me, do I hit X or O first? Which one do I tippy tap?
That's how musical geniuses communicate with each other.
Okay.
Hello,
of course
everyone.
I know how to read music. Up, down, left, right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Christian Polanco.
That's right. I'm Alexis Guerrero.
All right, we are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer show that you have ever witnessed.
We're not just that.
Okay, we're also rabid.
Yeah,
I think.
That's right, dog. I got an infection, dude. We're also the Gullians.
That's right. And yes, this show is going to be another one of those examples of Gully.
Yeah, yes, it is.
A lot going on. I mean, the Super Bowl just happened. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wonderful that secondary competition has such a big tournament,
Exactly, yeah.
It ain't no CONCACAF Champions League.
Finally, people paying attention to that. What is that? Pee Wee football? I think. I don't know what it is.
It's wonderful that all those people with concussions could go out there for 4 quarters and
recognize each other.
Who are you? Where am I?
Yes, that's how we should be trashing football.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's right.
That's why this show exists.
Yeah,
they built all this for that joke.
Just for this bit.
So yes, a lot to talk about. Soccer,
it was actually
Super
a really
Bowl.
fun Super Bowl. Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Yeah, it was great.
It was fun, and I'll come back from Kansas City Chiefs. Who cares? Anyway, we have too much stuff to get to focus on the National Football League.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I mean, we show love to the people who show love to us.
That is correct. All right. If you're listening to this podcast, and some people choose to ingest this in podcast form.
Right. People are like, I see them on TV, but I only want to listen to it in my ears, dog. And I don't want to walk around with both these eye patches because I keep banging into stuff in my apartment. So I'm just going to do the podcast.
That's fair.
I don't want to see what they look like.
And so occasionally people leave us reviews on iTunes.
What? Before you saw what we look like, why don't you leave a review of what you thought we looked like from our voices? And please be easy because I listen.
It could be like a weird dating game. Kind of show.
What was that show they used to do back in the day? The blind date?
Was it called Blind Date?
No, it wasn't. It was like where you could, the dating game.
Was it just called the dating game? Yeah, okay.
All right, well, look at us. All right. We were raised by televisions. But so this one is from Jazz Trumpet 439, which sounds like a sexual move. I'm not going to lie. I have a feeling
this is a fellow musician. Please show some respect.
Yeah. Right, he's charging his for his PlayStation. The title is Pizza, Comedy, and a Little Bit of Soccer. All right, Jazz Trumpet, you know us. This podcast could be in so many different categories. Is it a better food show than anything on the Food Network? funnier than on Comedy Central, more educational than your average textbook. They don't teach Gully in school these days, kids. And they also mention soccer on occasion. P.S. To my favorite supporters of Arsenal, Chelsea, and NYCFC, I have but one parting message. Oh, no. Did he jump off the side of a boat? His parting message is, you'll never walk alone and unite and conquer. So I guess that means he's a Liverpool fan or Celtic fan. That's right, because you're not the only ones who sing that.
Okay.
And unite and conquer Atlanta United.
Yes, but the only thing is, the only issue there was the Chelsea. Neither of us are Chelsea fans.
No,
I think
you're
he meant
an Everton fan.
So I think
Blue, he got confused.
He got confused. Okay, yeah. Obviously, take away the entire review. Take it down.
Yeah, none of this matters.
One error.
Just keep the word pizza up there. People will figure it out. But of course, that was 5 stars. And what happens when it's not 5 stars? What happens?
We don't even talk about
we
you.
hit report a concern, okay? Because we're concerned for you, and
because we can't stand this hate speech.
You know what I mean? Wait, constructive criticism. All I heard was criticism, and I don't like it. And you never work construction. Why are you asking, dog?
So thank you for that. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you are so inclined. So let's get
Shouts to you, Rusty jazz trumpet.
That's trombone.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
it's a
bad.
different class.
I get my instruments confused.
Anyway, we got some.
Look at this. Is this our first international package?
I think so.
Canada, baby. That counts.
very wildly international from very far, from the far.
Remember when Britney Spears was like, I love playing shows overseas, like in Canada. And I was like, leave her alone. We all make those mistakes.
So this is, it says around the packaging from Atlantic City FC.
Let's go.
Shout out to Atlantic City. We met the owner of the team in Baltimore at the United Soccer Coaches Convention.
It's the only professional soccer team where you can put your season tickets on red or black and you get 2 or none. Go ahead, I dare you.
Okay, it's a gamble.
Yeah, you already gambled with your life being in Atlantic City?
All right, look at this. We got we got some stickers.
Let's go.
Some hats. 2 hats. There's one for you.
Look at this beautiful beanie.
Atlantic City hat. Look
what
at
do
this.
you call these? What do you call these?
A beanie.
There's another term. Do you ever hear the term goobellini? You ever heard of that one?
I've never heard that one.
Must just be a Newark thing.
Okay.
A Scully. Also Scully. You've heard Scully.
I've heard Scully, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Goobellini sounds like the guy who cuts your meats.
Goobellini. I owe him $50. If he comes here, tell him I'm in Mexico.
Thank you. Look at this. We got a scarf from Atlantic City. This is dope. Appreciate it. And then the other side.
I thought it said appreciate it.
It says prosciutto on it.
Hey. That's the Caucus FC. Look at this one. This is, I can't see who this is from. Yo, this is from the Canadian Premier League, dude.
Whoa.
Yo, York 9. York 9 is just outside of, it's like Toronto.
Okay. It sounds like, a Drake record label.
Bro, we got 3. 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for the couch. Oh, I fell past the couch. Whatever. Oh, no, the gifts don't stop, dude.
Whoa! York 9. Look at this. We got kits.
Medium. We know that's yours. And large. All right. Well,
whoa.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Extra large. Okay. Who's this third Cooligan we don't know about?
Yo, look at the dope kit. Holy smokes.
That is beautiful.
Wow, Canada, the Canadian.
It says, we are many, we are one. All right, a little contradictory, but sure. I don't get it. It's the sum of all its parts, but also all the parts is dope. Yo, this is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's whatever, man. Watch on TV. I don't want to describe it too much, but it's
look at that. The Canadian Premier League badge is really cool.
Yeah, this is great.
This is so dope.
Sweet. Thank you so much, York 9.
Also, low key, they got a little Y9 on behind the badge. That's kind of dope.
Feels like what is it? Yves Saint Laurent or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's
I didn't know Balenciaga made kids.
a little high fashion out in Canada.
Right? All right, York gets it in. Shouts to York FC, dude.
Thank you.
York 9.
Yeah, the Canadian Premier League. This is what, their second season, I think, that they've been playing. So there's a lot to look forward to. Speaking of Canadian Premier League, this might be a longer conversation in the future, but Ellie Medjum had that clip that went viral of him talking about why Canada...
It's an anomaly that doesn't do better.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. They hadn't made it to the last, 3 World Cups?
Yeah, and the guy who runs that podcast was like, oh, yeah, what about this? And Ellie was like, oh, you think I'm not Ellie Medjum right now? He pulled out like tidbits of information, and I'm like, what are you?
So a stack of paper.
Yeah, what are you, a detective? How do you know this much about the Canadian League?
Yeah, so you wonder, the Canadian Premier League will hopefully make
they'll bridge that gap.
The Canadian national team better, right? Because the women are doing fine, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, they get pretty far. Christine Sinclair, high goal scorer in international football. It's just
history,
unbelievable. Anyway, now that we're done opening our gifts.
That's right.
Let's talk about.
But listen. If anyone's listening or watching, feel free to send us some for next week. We love them, and by we I mean me.
Let's focus on another gift that was given to us by the internet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Instagram.
The gift of Meek Mill's IG.
Because you don't really expect to see such a collaboration.
Because like on Instagram we follow a lot of soccer people, right?
Yeah.
But of course we follow our own personal interests.
Yes.
And for me, that's rap, right? Love me some hip hop.
Mostly.
Right?
I thought you were talking about food.
No. Yeah, I like raps, paninis. I've had a lot of panini accounts. But I was just scrolling through, and I happened to swing past Meek Mill's IG.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, another soccer account. Because who do I see on the right hand, seated at the head of the table? First I catch J Balvin because he's got the lightning bolts tattooed on his head, right?
Are they tattooed, or is that part of his hair?
No, that's tattooed.
Oh, I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
I'm under the impression it's a tattoo. But anyway, he's hard to miss, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Where are you sitting here talking about whether tattoos are a part of his hair or tattooed or the lightning bolts are tattooed?
We could pick him out of a lineup.
Yeah,
I promise.
Spot, okay? Colombian, right?
Colombian, yes.
Colombian reggaetonero, rapper, the whole nine. Incredible artist, right? And then I see like a white dude I don't know. And then Peyton Manning, and I'm like, well, Peyton clearly confused, right? He's like, who's this guy speaking Spanish? And why is everyone high-fiving him, right?
Yeah.
Does anyone know I'm here? I do commercials with country music artists, right? Next to him, old white dude. He's probably Googling how to get home, right? And then next to him, the head of Major League Soccer.
Don Garber is right at the table with Meek Mill, J Balvin, and of course, Don Garber, right?
Don Garber.
Walking to a bar. We've all heard this joke.
Yeah. Meek, Peyton, and Don walk into a bar.
Oh, all this joke in the book.
Yeah. Don was like, is Meek short for anything? Or?
Yes. So we saw this, and in this particular photo, you see Don Garber like, I don't know what he's looking at, but he's probably looking at somebody else, but like, yo, can you believe I'm here?
Yeah, Don Garber's like, yo, take another picture of me and Meek, yo. I want to show my kids, dude.
So this kind of, we didn't know what this meeting was about. Obviously, this is in Miami before the Super Bowl.
And one of our fans said that's the Soho House in Miami.
Yeah. No, that wasn't one of our. I guess one of our fans. It was Mike Magee.
That's right. Hold on a second. It was Mike Magee.
Yes, MLS MVP Mike Magee on our Instagram was like, "Yo, that's Soho House. I know what's going on." Yo, my guy.
Yo, I should have been there. Yeah. That's where Meek and Don Garber meet all the time. Is at the Soho House.
Yeah. So he saw the ambiance. He saw everything. He was like, "Oh, I know what that is.
I know that salad." Had it plenty of time.
But this is pretty cool, right? Again, it's really just about the fact that our worlds are colliding in this way. I'm curious, what conversation did Meek Mill and Don Garber have with each other?
And people were like, yo, Don Garber used to be an NFL executive. Yeah. We're not worried about that. We're worried about the fact that he's on Meek Mill's Instagram.
Okay. And
you know who's not? Rick Ross. And Rick Ross owns his label.
So, I'm curious, like, what? Because there's so many opportunities. There were rumors of like, yo, is Meek Mill interested in buying the Philadelphia Union?
Or is Don Garber going to drop bars on Meek Mill's next track? It can happen.
All valid questions.
Right? Remember Don Garber? He survived prostate cancer, right? So maybe that was one of his bucket list items. He was like, I'm not going out without dropping bars, dog. Dreams and nightmares too.
Yo, Meek, let me get on that remix.
Yo, dog. Yo, let me be the D-Boys guy, like from Boys to Men, my dude. I don't even need to say something. Just be like, hey, girl.
Or maybe there's an opportunity to have Meek Mill like do the halftime show at MLS Cup.
Do they do halftime
They
shows?
don't, but I'm saying, let's get one.
Maybe we start now.
Maybe these are the possible conversations. Why we have to think big?
Yeah. Peyton, wouldn't that be fun? Peyton? He's just sitting there playing Candy Crush. Who's Meek Mill?
No, this is just amazing, and that's what it's weird because for people connected to different parts of this photo. There's so many people who are like, "Yo, it's Peyton Manning."
For Latino MLS fans, J Bob,
obviously.
For hip hop fans that are also MLS fans, Meek Mill's there.
And that's exactly
for people who don't like to move their neck, right? Fans of guys who don't move their neck. Peyton Manning's there. You know what I mean? He's very stiff, dude.
Yeah. You know how that's a large demo.
You don't realize
the non-neck movers.
Yeah. I just love guys that turn their whole body. You know?
Okay, but with precise accuracy. No, it is kind of amazing. But it kind of just says that when it comes to soccer, when it comes to all these worlds hip hop, this is why this show exists, right? Like to kind of merge all these.
You know who wasn't there? The commissioner of the Premier League. Okay.
Hey, what happened?
Wasn't there?
I thought you were supposed to be the biggest league in the world.
$1 billion TV deal. Were you too busy to hang out with Meek Mill?
Oh, you didn't get invited to the Super Bowl, my guy. Oh, bummer.
Wow.
Hey, it's just
some of us can't. I guess one day maybe if you keep trying.
Try best one that you get there. Anyway, so let's talk about some news. This was a bit of a shock. Obviously, people are aware of what's going on in China with the coronavirus.
That's right.
There's a lot of terrible jokes.
Pronounce it correctly, the coronavirus.
There's a lot of terrible jokes on Facebook.
About limes, getting prepared for coronavirus.
Okay,
we get it.
Your uncles are ruining Facebook with these terrible jokes. But this, obviously, it's a very serious issue. And
I think the death toll is up to 425 at the time of recording this. So pretty serious.
Yeah. It's a cause for concern. But it's also affecting soccer. And now it's a national emergency.
Now we worry about it. Okay. Because before it was this cute little disease thinning the herd. But now it's intruding on what we like.
How dare you, Mr. or Miss Plague?
Yeah.
Do not do this. No, it's affecting the Chinese Super League. And obviously there's a lot of players, big time players that do play in the Premier League. Some just to read off.
They used to play in the Premier League.
They used to play in the Premier League, obviously. Yes. Marouane Fellaini, Everton, Manchester United legend.
Legend is...
Marko Arnautovic, Paulinho, Moussa Dembele.
Which Moussa Dembele is the question?
You know which one. Yeah. Whichever one you're thinking of.
Sorry, hold on.
Him.
Let's spin the Moussa Dembele wheel and see which one we land on.
Hey, you won. Also, Obafemi Martins is still over there. Seattle
still
playing out there. He's a legend, dude. Not a great dude. So I mean, this is so they postponed.
Players are trying to get out of it.
Yeah, so they postponed the league, and now a lot of the players are reaching out to the agents like, "Yo, I know." Last year, I begged you to get me a big time deal out here.
I talked greasy last year, right? But right now, I'm like, what's up with all that TAM? I'd love to go to the U.S.
I'm interested in the MLS financial structure.
Have you heard of Vancouver Whitecaps?
Okay,
because I've been a fan of theirs my entire life, and I did this China thing. It's whatever. I would love to be a DP.
Oh, I'm not allowed to fly in or fly out of China at the moment.
I will drive to Russia.
No, this is pretty wild. I've never really seen anything like this where a league has just been completely just stopped, Everything
is stopped. I think Hyundai stopped their factories in Korea because they couldn't get parts.
They're forced to stay home. They have like a lockdown. This is like this really interesting.
It's like everyone had the infection I had in my ankle. Did I update you guys on that? It was an infection.
He had the coronavirus in his ankle.
I got SARS in my ankle, dude.
You hate it when it happens.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. How sedate am I that my muscles are now getting infections? That's how little I exercise. I showed the podiatrist. Remember the podiatrist who took the crystal out of my foot? Who was like, you could leave it in there. People walk around with bullets in them. And I'm like, I should not be going to use that.
But he sounds like that. Your podiatrist has that voice.
No, 100%. 100%. And if you knew his last name, it's exactly what you would expect. A guy like, there's a lot of vowels in it.
It's Dr. Gubalini.
Yeah. Dr. Capicola, please pronounce the gabagool. Dr. Capicola was my father. I'm Mr. Spaghetti Gabagool. It's just racist now. I said it in my head before I said it out loud, and it made me upset. And I know my wife's going to hear this and get so mad because I think her uncle is called Spaghetti Gabagool. Call me Spaghetti. I don't like the mister. So I show him my foot, and he goes, well, it's not gout. I'm like, why does everyone think it's gout? And he goes, well, he's like, whatever, the part that's swollen, if that's the tendon that would have snapped, he's like, not only would you have heard it snap, but you wouldn't be able to put any weight on your foot whatsoever. And you walked in here. I go, so then what else could it be? He goes, it's an infection. I was like, are you even trying? Like, you just want to get me out of here. He's like, it's red, it's swollen, it's hot to touch, it's an infection. I go, an infection could swell your ankle and hurt your muscles. He goes, yeah, if you don't deal with it in a week. And I was like, oh,
yeah, that's
that pain I had for a week.
Yeah, that's typical Alexis. How he deals with any problem. Yeah, you know,
I lean on it harder.
Then I worry about it in a fortnight.
Yeah, like when my neck hurt once when I was a kid, I'll sleep on the way in which it hurts, and then I woke up and it didn't hurt no more. So, health insurance by the Guerreros family.
The Chinese Super League.
Yeah, they got their own ankle infection.
Their own issues. But this is one thing I did hear, that the countries on basically lockdown, and certain provinces are on lockdown, that people are now they're staying home and they're like kind of like have cabin fever, and they have the way they're helping with people. They have like, there's a hospital that was being built. They have like webcams. So why, like the country is trying to help people who are stuck at home,
that are just bored.
Yeah.
Dude, can one of our fans translate our show into Cantonese? This will be huge for us. How do you say?
Do we get fubo?
How do you say Dr. Spaghetti Gabagool in Cantonese?
We need to get fubo in China immediately.
Yo.
Okay.
Fubo.co.ch. What's the China one?
Because this is a missed opportunity.
Yeah. To our great leader, Mr. Xi Jinping. Please allow Fubo.
Okay, we do not denigrate the Supreme League.
No, of course not.
We would never on this program.
My mother just threw something at the TV that I just called a communist the great leader. Shouts to Kuma.
Oh my God.
When did this become a soccer show? Right? Like, I feel like at some point. No, we were supposed to talk national teams.
Now we're talking that. Yes, the men's national team also played.
That's right. The United States men's national soccer team of the Republic of China.
The enemy of.
We're gonna do numbers in China, dog.
We gotta get the fan base up over there. No, men's national team beat Costa Rica 1-0.
That's right.
From a penalty from,
which is huge because Costa Rica had like their full team in, and we had a bunch of kids in there.
I wouldn't say a full team, but
one of them was a stroller. I mean, out there.
But this is the team that hopefully will make it into and qualify for the Olympics, because that's coming up very soon. But on the women's side,
right? You're seeing Uli Yanez, who made his first cap for the men's national team, look great.
Yeah,
got great. The penalty. Let's go.
The kids are all right. They're doing well.
The kids doing all right. That's the Cooligans version.
And then the women's national team also played last night.
Have they played yet? They've sparred a couple times.
It's just they're destroying all the competition. I mean, every time we see this, and we saw it against some of the teams in the World Cup, CONCACAF has they have a long way to go. Obviously, there's not really. I mean, Canada's the closest, but
this is also a problem because when we face some of the big European countries, they're much better.
Yes.
So we're playing a lot of countries and we're beating them 5-6, 7-0. Yeah. Right. And then you go and play France and it's a harder match. So I don't know.
But still, I mean, the women's national team, it's nothing. That was the talking point at the World Cup.
It's going to be talking point for a while.
But they're still very, very good. And they're incredibly dominant.
Shouts to Ali Krieger,
Kristen Press. Just embarrassing folks out there, man. It's looking good. So you're excited.
You'll love to see it.
Hopefully both national teams make it into the Olympics, and it'll be another exciting summer of soccer. All right.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We want to break in real quick with a word from one of our sponsors, us and you.
That's you. Okay.
It's you. Actually, this is about you right now. I see you driving.
We see you on the subway.
Well, we right behind you, dog.
Yes, Gully Squad. Thank you, Gully Squad. It's been the last couple weeks have been incredible. We got a bunch of new Gully Squad members.
But which reminds us, please send us your address. We want to send you the pins.
That's right.
We want to send you. We want to bring you into the Slack channel. I mean, there's so much great conversation happening. One of the channels was created by the fans. They send me pictures of pizza, and I tell them exactly how it's trash. I break it down. Science.
This is better than sexting for Alexis.
100%.
Right?
Actually, this is. My wife is wild jealous of you guys.
This is like infidelity.
Mom was like, "Who's this bitch sending you a picture of this pizza?"
It's just pepperoni, babe.
Babe, I swear it means nothing to me.
So make sure you join because it's an incredible community that is growing, and there's exclusive content and a bunch of cool perks.
And a video. One of the perks is a video of our roast of MLS teams.
Yes,
from the ISC.
So there's a lot of cool things available, and it's only growing. There's going to be really cool things in the future, and it's only going to be for this exclusive group. So make sure you go to soccercooligans.com and click on the Join Gully Squad button. It is at the top. It is at the bottom, so you cannot miss it. We have to get to one of our interviews that we did in Baltimore. This
was so much fun.
We had a great time at the United Soccer Coaches Convention.
That's right. We didn't just get infections. Right, at Baltimore.
Even though that was our main focus.
Right? We checked it off the list, top priority. People like, go get crabs. I'm like, no, we're going to get a different infection.
Okay, I think you're breaking HIPAA compliance asking all these questions.
Okay, sir. Is you my doctor? Because I don't see any red sauce stains on your shirt.
We had a great chat with David Copeland-Smith of Beast Mode Soccer. And if you don't know Beast Mode Soccer, one of those Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts that just always posting really cool like soccer training videos and tricks and stuff like that.
He does an incredible job training Alex Morgan right now, who is 6 months pregnant at the time that we recorded this.
Yep.
And still banging in top bins, dude. Crushing it.
It's wild. So we had a great conversation with him. So here's our conversation with David Copeland-Smith at the United Soccer Coaches Convention.
Welcome to U.S. Soccer Coaches Convention. We're doing another interview here. And oh my God, this one is amazing. I mean, this is...
Yeah. We're excited. Beast Mode himself, not Marshawn Lynch.
Why don't you do this intro?
Can't talk about that. That's an ongoing legal matter.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, should we cut that?
No, it's fine.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Why don't you do the intro? I can do all the intros. Why don't you get this?
I'm excited because we both have we've watched your videos for years. There's a very popular trend of soccer training videos that are always like intense.
You mean there's a trend of people biting him?
That's why. That's what it apparently is.
I didn't say it, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, come on now.
So we're excited to welcome our next guest, Copeland-Smith of Beast Mode Soccer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You can hear the applause. We'll add it in post.
I've actually heard such good things about both of you because we got a lot of mutual people.
Yeah.
And everybody says you're good guys. I watched your stuff. I didn't buy it. I was like, nah.
This is what I like.
Look,
heavy roast.
I appreciate the skepticism.
I was like, American humor.
I'm sorry, he's English. It's a Sunday roast.
That's like, the only funny American is Dave Chappelle. So
the only one. There's not.
Get ready to add to the list. So I'm sorry. Did we invent stand-up comedy? And when England catches up in 10 years, it's going to be even better out there. Don't you worry. So
we're always playing catch up.
Why do what you do? Why did you start putting videos online? Because when you did, it wasn't the industry. We're all so awesome. It's not just
as awesome as me. Yeah. They're okay.
He got fans. Go ahead.
Why, when you started what you started, like, why would you put stuff? Because, like, comedians putting stuff online, at one time it was like, why don't put it there? They should come see you. They should come pay to see you. You took the other route. You're like, I'm going to give it to them. What got you there?
Yeah, so... I mean, there's a whole story about it, but for social media, I'm aware that not everyone can afford private training or we've got apps. We've got an app and we've got other paid programs. I'm aware that not everybody has that money, and I feel like everybody should have access to good content. So we put enough content out there that people can create their own development plans.
Yeah.
And... You might say I'm a modern day Mother Teresa with soccer.
I was just about to.
Yeah.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Some people wouldn't connect those two, but we would have.
Hey, Catholic school.
Yeah.
So-
I went to that too.
So, so tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in Los Angeles and where you're originally from.
We know I ended up in Los Angeles from England, dog.
Are you guys immigration officers? I've asked, so legally you have to answer.
No, we're immigrants. Yeah. So you're in good hands.
No, so I came to America in 2003. Just a little poor boy from Plymouth, England, with a bag of clothes.
Yeah, a newsboy hat.
A bag of clothes and a dream in my hand.
Yeah.
And
what's that thing called? A bindle? What's the stick with the bag?
The satchel thing. Yeah. Like Oliver Twist or something.
Yeah. Man, have some more. They're like, dude, it's a salad bar. Have as much as you want. I don't know why you're asking.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you I was vegan.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Salad jokes.
Yeah.
And I moved to Tampa, Florida.
Sorry to hear that.
I actually love Tampa. Everyone rags on it, but Tampa's not really Florida. Like Tampa's it's good people in Tampa.
Yeah. Shots at Florida. What did you come here for? Was it to play like at university or?
No, I was working for Major League Soccer camps.
Oh, okay.
Who paid me what they thought was a very fair $120 a week.
Wow.
But they sold the experience.
Yeah.
La-di-da.
Cool.
Like in New York, they say, well, we can't give you money. We give you a family.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I met a girl who wanted to move to California. I was coaching teams there, and I kind of fell out of love with coaching teams when I was there. So I moved to California. I only wanted to do technical training, but I was poor.
Yeah.
So I had to get a job. And I feel like now I can be very honest with this story because I was undocumented at the time.
Yeah.
Because I overstayed my visa, which is, if you ever see me on Twitter and stuff, so I'm very pro-immigrant.
Yeah.
Because although I'm, white,
right.
I noticed that. That was the first thing I noticed, to be honest.
Overwhelmingly.
But I know, I know what that process is.
Yeah.
And it sucks. So I traveled across. This is actually the very first time I'll ever tell this story publicly.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So we traveled across. I made a decision to only do technical. So we traveled across, me and this girl. We drove across I-10. Right?
Okay, so you drove from Tampa
I was
to...
scared to fly.
Yeah.
So, I only had my British passport, which now with Brexit, it's even more worthless.
You're right.
So I don't know anything about Brexit. If anyone wants to come in,
It's wallpaper for you now, right? Yeah.
And it's funny, we were driving, we got all the way through Texas, biggest state ever, and you come around a corner in El Paso, and it's an immigration checkpoint. I've got an Arsenal jersey on,
Yeah.
Arsenal baseball cap, and I'm playing FIFA on the PSP. Couldn't look more English.
Yeah.
And, you can't stop.
Fish and chips in your hand. You're like, come on, man.
You literally can't stop, because if you stop, they know.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they put it on the corner. So the young woman is like, what should we do? What should we do? And I'm like, we've got to carry on. So immigration checkpoint, and they wind the window down, and she's driving, and they ask her all the questions they ask. You citizen? Yep. They check her license and whatever. And I'm just like...
Yeah.
And they look over and they say, what about you, sir? Are you a citizen? And I went, sure I am, sir. And this is when I knew I was meant to be in America, because he didn't ask for my license. He just said, all right, you guys have a great day. And we drove on, and she was like, shall I stop? I'm like, not yet. So we drove on 5 miles, and I got out of the car and just let my anxiety out. And then I landed in LA.
And then became the best known actor ever, because that was an impressive performance.
Yeah, for sure. Hell of an accent, by the way.
This is a true story, by the way. Al Pacino once told me I'd be a great actor. And I looked at him and went, actors are a bit weird, aren't they, Al? Couldn't catch the words as they came out of my mouth. And he looked at me and went, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did you just say that, David?
All these English are taking our American actor jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Because you can do our accent, but we refuse to do your accent.
It's because I just feel like we're very good at being American. I
think it's because American culture was so prominent in England for so long.
Want to go play some soccer?
Yeah.
Come on, guys, let's go kick a ball.
Why is it a
They do this in
beta?
Europe.
Why is the accent always a beta?
They do this in Europe, guys. I love Europe. Let's go play some soccer.
It's a scared kid trying to get friends.
Oh my God, go! I heard they say that in Mexico.
Amazing.
I got a job at a high school, and I worked there as JV high school coach. And one of the kids on the first day hated me because I made her pick all the stuff up. And even though she was a senior, I told her it's just glorified bullying, getting the freshmen to do it. She should lead by example. Her parents tried to get me fired. And then, like 3 months into the season, she's on the varsity team, but I catch her watching my sessions all the time. And I feel like she's just messing with me.
Yeah.
Like her and her crew are like,
The mean girls. Of soccer.
I think I'm going to get beat up by these girls.
and I'm like, oh, why are they messing with me? And she came up to me, she was like, oh, can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, I've got an opportunity to play for New Zealand. And I said, well, clearly with that broad Kiwi accent, kids from Pacific Palisades in LA. And she's like, my dad's in New Zealand. It was like that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm a Kiwi.
I don't even know where it is.
Yeah.
But I can play for New Zealand. So my dad's like full on Kiwi. So I asked her a few questions and I said, look, I don't like you, and she didn't like me. I said, I'll train you, but you've got to do exactly what I tell you to do. And she did. And she went on to do good things. She went to Stanford this year. If she's fit, she'll play in her 4th Olympics. And that's where it all kind of started. So like
And that girl is Rosie White.
I've actually trained Rosie.
Oh yeah. We met her in Chicago when she was with the Red Stars. We did a show with her.
So this was Ali Riley.
Okay.
Who played at Stanny, and she was roommates with Kelly O'Hara.
Yeah.
So I trained Kelly and all them, and it all came to fruition, and it's just steamrolled since then. And it's crazy because I look back at Alex, it's almost been 10 years I've been training Alex.
Alex Morgan.
Yeah. And I'm like...
First name basis.
But I'm like...
This guy's dialed in.
I'm like, they're all aging, but I stay the same. It's weird.
Yeah.
Very
That's
weird.
because English dudes become 40 years old at 16, and then you just stay 40 forever.
It's the other way around. I'm like 16
Rooney.
until
Look at Rooney. That kid was 17, and then next year he was 45, and he's been that forever.
And you've coached. You've trained so many players. Any particular notable ones like that you can fire off? How many notable players have you worked with?
Yeah, what should we title this video?
Resume?
What's the biggest thing?
Go for it. Come on, SEO. We need
Okay. So the one that people obviously know is Alex Morgan.
Alex Morgan. And now before you continue, just today I just saw the video of you're training Alex Morgan as she's, I believe, 5 or 6 months pregnant, and these. I mean, it's incredible. I didn't even look at the comments because I know Sidney Leroux dealt with it and all this negativity. It's obviously clearly a safe decision, and doctors are involved.
Well, the funny thing is, always from men.
Yeah,
who don't know what it's like to be
interesting.
pregnant.
Right. Hey, she shouldn't be doing that, right?
The baby's bouncing around.
No, you can't because the umbilical cord might get twisted from the turning. It's like, what do you watch? 3 episodes of Cosby Show?
But honestly, like, I like to put things up of Alex because I feel like the world needs to see her work.
Yeah.
Because for so long, and Alex has always been the same with work ethic wise, like she's a badass.
Yeah.
And she's relentless. And
just the video itself, she's banging them in top bins, pregnant. It's incredible.
And she's been doing that with me for so long. And a couple of years ago, I felt like that she didn't really get those props because she doesn't put it up herself.
Sure.
Right.
Right? Which is, she doesn't feel the need to put, grind porn out there. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Which is other players do it, and it's fantastic. And I actually think it's quite inspirational.
Never heard the term grind porn, but it's now my new favorite term.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I was like, what exactly are we talking about?
Hey, stop this interview because I got to look something up.
Hold up. Can someone get me an incognito browser? So you're training, let's say Alex Morgan, right? And a young kid comes up to you and says, yo, I want to be a star. I want to be a top striker. I want to score goals. I want to win World Cups. I want to be just like Alex Morgan. You're not talking to the kid. You're talking to us now. What is that? What is it that makes her separate? What is that gap? What makes her a star? Can people achieve that simply by working hard?
Alex's difference maker, and this is a lot of the players that I work with, she's never happy with it. So an example would be you just win the World Cup and there's a whole party afterward and Patty was there.
Yeah.
And, I go up and I'm obviously, congratulations. She's like, right, Olympics next. That's the difference. Like she's always
just trying. Never enough. Never enough.
It's like a shark. You stop swimming, you drown.
Exactly. So I would say that's the game changer with her, but not just her. Like I work with a bunch of players like Ali Long, we mentioned. Ali's the same way. Rachel Daly, like the list, like Abby Wambach when she was playing. And it's just the little gaps that they want to close where a lot of players are happy where they are because they're good enough. Players like Al and Rach, they know they're good enough, but they also know there's a little bit more they can get.
Right.
And if they can just get those few centimeters extra, that could be another 2 goals in a season. That could be another 3 assists. And it's honestly refreshing to be around. I love working with Alex because it pushes me to be good. Because I can't go there and have a 6 months pregnant Alex and I can't let her down.
Yeah.
I have to be good. And, Kelly O'Hara is another one who will tell me if it's not very good.
Right.
She's quite mean with it and hurts my feelings a little bit, to be honest. And Rach does the same thing, but Rach does it in that horrible Northern English accent. Dave, this is shit. And you're like, thanks, I spent an hour designing this last night.
Yeah, and they don't pronounce consonants.
They can't even spell it.
Yeah. They're like, consonant, I come from Europe. No, it's a different.
No, you're from the north of England.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever been in Europe. That's really mean.
I'm curious about what separates Beast Mode Soccer and that program. The one I watch you a lot. I watch Eddie Johnson out in Florida as well, and he posts a lot of videos with 6-7-year-olds that are doing just unbelievable
barking at him.
but just doing unbelievable work. What separates your regiment from why do people go to you in particular?
Results.
Okay.
Honestly,
also personality, right? Fun guy to talk to.
Well, different trainers have different things, right? I'm not a barker. I'm not screaming and yelling at you. I'm not trying to motivate you because, quite frankly, if you're not motivated, I don't want you here.
Okay.
Let's be honest. If they can afford you, you're pretty motivated. You know what I mean? You got here, didn't you?
You're like, listen, mum and dad are paying, so you best be motivated.
Yeah.
But it's we've all got different styles. What I do gets results. And what other people play probably gets results for them. But I don't want to be a shouter. I've got enough stress in my life.
Play jazz music as you're training. Everybody relax.
No, it's NPR.
Yeah.
Just take some CBD before you take shots.
Yeah. We got some CBD lotion in the shower.
From neck and
Yeah.
that's lotion. I need it.
Yeah.
But with what we do is details. Very, very much details. Every session we do, Alex is a 9, Rachel's a 9. There'll be completely different sessions.
Okay.
Because they're completely different players. They need to work on completely different things. The stuff we put on social is quite generic. And I always put make this your own.
Yeah.
Don't just copy it. So I would say details, and quite frankly, everyone copies everything we do, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it works. it'd be nice if you could at me and give me some credit now.
That'd be
and then.
lovely. Yeah.
But that's cool as well. I
Tag
guess.
me, dude. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'll take details.
Okay, that's fair.
I have a question. All right, so Christian and I, two very different athletically.
Yeah.
Right?
Both gifted in our own way.
In our own way. Very specific way for me. What first step in order for someone in their 30s to get in the league, right? In the shape we're in. If you looked at us, if we had all the money in the world, we came to you and we said, here, make us into a star. You're going to have two different answers, right? How long would it take for us to be at least at a level where we could stay on a field with a pro player? Not a top player, just a pro
I'll probably
player.
close the door.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends. Do you want to play with them or do you just want to train with them?
I just want to
Because I
stay
can
on the
stick you in
field.
goal.
Yeah. There you go. As I cry, as they pelt shots at me.
Honestly, realistically, not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you can get in ridiculous shape doing what we do, right?
I hope my wife doesn't hear that part. She's like, see?
You should order a Peloton.
Yeah. I'll order her one, just like the commercial.
Yeah, I've got one coming on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you to my friend Spencer for hooking that up.
Okay, Spencer.
And,
Spence FC?
we could.
Spencer Wadsworth from Wasserman.
Okay. We could use 3.
Yo, Spence. Look it up.
So, it's you could get shredded in 3 months. Absolutely.
No, I could get shredded pork right now.
Copeland,
downstairs.
please. We didn't bring you on here to lie to this man, okay?
How dare you?
I could give you a diet plan right now. You could lose 40 pounds in a month and a half.
A lot of it will be just from the crying of reading the diet plan.
Most of it.
Yeah.
Because there'd be no eating bad food. Which,
Yeah.
Why do they make good food taste so bad?
Yeah.
Why can't lettuce taste like donuts?
Tell me about it. That's why McDonald's adds MSG to the lettuce so that you want to eat it. Let's
Yeah.
just do that, yo.
Well, lettuce tastes like
Brilliant
burgers.
move. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Oh
McDonald's.
yeah, yo. Shouts to Mickey D's.
Well, thank you for not only just bestowing us with your magic skills, but we got to learn a lot about you,
Thank
Copeland.
you guys for
And
having
also,
me.
you do more on camera, and I'm like, you're incredible. You have a great personality. What are you doing?
I
It's like a player who
appreciate-
doesn't want to play. Imagine Alex Morgan didn't want to play in the Olympics. That's what you're doing right now.
You sound like my mum, and I appreciate it.
Yo, your mom got a deep voice, dog.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get out there more.
Yeah, do it.
All right, it's just at Beast Mode Soccer on
Beast
everything.
Mode Soccer on everything apart from TikTok because someone took it.
Oh no!
Well, I
smart.
don't even remember what the TikTok is because TikTok's just dancing and I
Yeah.
can't figure
And
that out.
yeah.
I can't wait to see you lip syncing
Taylor Swift songs.
in your
I'll need a
bedroom.
lipstick, dog. I'm a rapper.
There you go.
Okay.
That's right. Kids got bars, dog.
Yeah, you don't even know. You know what I'm saying?
Copeland, thank you
Straight
so
off the streets of Plymouth, England, bro.
bruv. All right.
PO2.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. We really
Guys, I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Hey, everybody, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We want to break in with another word from another one of our sponsors on the Volley Apparel.
On the Volley Apparel, if you want to get Cooligans merchandise.
That's right, yo. You want to look dope?
Okay, you want to get a hat that's Alexis
I'm wearing
is
a
currently
Cooligans
wearing.
hat right now. It
want-
says Stay Gully on the back, and it just so happens to remind you of my T-shirt.
The
It says
Gulliest.
Gulliest.
Exactly. So
Aight.
the Gully and Gulliest are covered. We're trying to get all the adjectives out there.
Yeah.
So go to onthevolleyapparel.com, and if you use the promo code Cooligans for anything,
gonna happen?
And for anything, so I'll tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna get 20% off your entire order.
Wow, the whole thing?
The whole thing.
So, yo, you could get clothes from the rest of the On the Volley Apparel catalog and all the Cooligans merch, and you're going to get 20% off just because you put in Cooligans?
Yeah, that's what I said, Alexis.
Wow, that's crazy. I should pay attention to these ads more often.
So go do it on the onthevolleyapparel.com/Cooligans, and also use the promo code Cooligans. But no, we have a lot to get to today, especially with our first guest.
So happy to have him on.
I mean, a dear friend.
Yeah.
Right?
You said it like you didn't believe it.
You said it like you didn't even think it was a possibility.
No, I mean, does he like us? Who knows?
No, writer for The Athletic. I mean, he's covered American soccer for years in a lot of different publications.
This
but
is the guy.
This is
for
the
MLS.
guy. When it comes to this is how I always introduce Paul. I say, Adam Schefter of soccer.
Right. This is how I introduce Paul. I said, yo, when GMs get hired, they reach out to him and go, yo, what are we supposed to do with all this tan?
That's basically it. So please introduce our guest, Alexis.
So you've already said it right for The Athletic. One of our favorite people in MLS soccer. Unless you're driving, put your hands together for the one, the only, Paul Tenorio.
Hey, Paul. How's it going, man?
What's up, fellas? I appreciate that introduction. I mean, how can I can't even top that. I can't even introduce myself that well.
Buddy, your presence enough.
Just put your resume to the camera, okay? So everybody knows.
You got one of those resumes that folds out.
Yeah, so let's start by just introducing you to people who may not know who you are. You do write for The Athletic, but what do you do, Paul?
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I try to cover American soccer in totality. So everything from Major League Soccer to the U.S. national team, USL and the lower divisions. And, I try to keep my fingers on the pulse of what's happening in the transfer windows and all the MLS rules, TAM, GAM, and discovery lists, all that garbage. And then, try to tell good stories as well. So most people like the TAM and GAM stuff more than the stories. So I just try to do as much of that as I can.
We're like little raccoons rifling through that little trash.
Yeah, man, we're going through all that trash. We got diseases, Paul.
We want How does that, I'm curious about just your doing this particular job, because there really aren't many people on the planet that have the knowledge that you do, whether you want it or not. There aren't many people that are aware of American soccer and aware of especially MLS in particular to the degree that you do. What is it like being you, everyone reaching out to you? I'm sure there's so many people.
Like MLS omnipotence.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a life goal to be like an expert in things that no one else cares about or knows about. You know who the best is like, unfortunately, like my father-in-law reads my stuff on The Athletic, and I just feel so bad for him trying to sort through that stuff. I mean, it's been interesting because what it does is it changes conversations with general managers and coaches and sources, because I am able to understand some of the stuff that they work with day to day. And that's really helped me to cover the league in a way that not a lot of people cover it. If you cover Major League Baseball or the NBA or NFL, you can go and look at all the available contract information. Everything's out there. It's pretty clear how teams put rosters together, and we see that coverage all over the place. And MLS, not all that information is out there. The rules are convoluted, and so it's a little bit more difficult to go in depth into how rosters are built, how teams are put together. And, that's kind of my forte. So in a way, it's allowed me to become one of the top reporters covering MLS, because I'm able to get into those conversations with GMs and understand their mindset and their thinking behind pretty much every roster rule or trade. And so that's been a really useful tool for me. And then what I've learned is actually there are a lot of people who love, kind of the idea of learning roster rules, how to put a team together. I mean, it's what we've seen with all the different games that have come out around soccer and being a general manager. It's the same audience that's existing with all the analytics people in baseball that's kind of built out of the readership there as well. So it's kind of worked out nicely that I happen to love like the dorkiest side of an already dorky beat.
It's like those GMs are like the people who play Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean? They like build their own world. Like, you can't do that. You're a pawn or whatever. And like now they're perfect
and
for
I'm on the
capologists.
outside, like taking notes about the Dungeon and Dragons movie. You know what I mean?
You're like, oh, Steve did this with a 16-sided die.
Could you theoretically, could you run a team? Could you, or I don't know, maybe even put together a team, or maybe be a team president? Could you understand the financials of how players are paid? Do you think you could actually run a team?
I think that, I feel confident that I could step into a front office.
Keep in mind Colorado last year, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, the real thing, I mean, everyone that looks around the league knows that, there are some people who have jobs that aren't very good at their jobs building rosters. I think I could step into a front office and help. The problem is, I know as much as I can know publicly, but there's a lot of stuff MLS keeps behind the scenes that I don't know about. So I think it would be difficult for anyone to step in right away and just know the rules. I mean, we've seen that with some of these foreign GMs that have come in who have been very successful in Europe, and it takes them a year or two kind of figure out what to do. But yeah, I mean, I think I have confidence that I could step into a front office and be successful. But, that's all just like, I'm sure if a GM heard me say that right now, they're probably kicking back in their chair laughing about it because you only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But it is insane that you're like on the cutting edge and on the cusp of all this information. Like when new information comes out, like a youth transfer fund, like when that was rumored, I don't even know if that went through. Every time something like that comes out, are you like, get going, I got to know about this too?
Yeah, luckily I find out about it before it happens, like the youth transfer fund, which they ended up killing because of the CBA. They didn't want to introduce a new pot of money before these current CBA negotiations that are happening. But yeah, you're just like, how the heck? Why are we adding more things to learn? But you know what? I get some relief in the sense that like GMs say that to me too. Like they're not like cheering for the youth transfer fund and for new rules to come in. They're like, oh man, I got to learn this new thing. I got to learn how to this allocation money.
Well, you're adding another algebra problem to you're already difficult job.
The kid from Goodwill Hunting, we can't do this. Paul, you mentioned the CBA just before. Apparently there's an extension now. Talks were that they were supposed to have either figured it out or maybe a strike January 31st. Obviously that didn't happen. What could you tell us about where it is now? What do you expect to see? Is the single entity gone? What's happening, Paul?
No, single entity is not gone as much as some people might want it to be gone. No, I think talks have been positive overall, compared to the last CBA negotiations in 2015 that I felt were really tenuous all the way till 48 hours before the first game of that season. It felt like there was going to be a strike. There actually was a vote to strike. And then they were able to use an government arbitrator to avoid that strike. This time around, I haven't heard anything beyond the prepared to strike. Talks haven't been that negative or pessimistic to this point. I think there's a belief that they're pretty close on some key issues. Now, I don't know how much things are going to change drastically within the salary cap structure. I don't really anticipate that happening. And a big part of the reason why is the players aren't really pushing for that right now. I think players really want change in player rights, movement, free agency, an expansion of, kind of basic insurance and things like that, as well as, I think an ability to different types of player movement. So there's the free agency side of it where they want that to expand. Right now it's 28 and 8. They want to move that down somewhere. They want to kind of get rid of the leverage that teams have with contracts where you can make bona fide offers and hold on to player rights in perpetuity. Those types of things are much more important. An increase in the senior minimum salary and the reserve minimum salary. We saw that go up significantly in the last CBA. So those are the things the players are focused on. And as a result, I'm not anticipating huge changes in the way the league operates its salary cap.
How, as far as, especially when it comes to salaries and when it comes to how much owners are investing into their roster, right? It feels like this CBA negotiation feels a little different than the last one, given the expansion fees, right? We see how much the league is bringing in with
and how valuable the teams are now.
Yeah, and we see how much money is coming in. So MLS can't use the same excuse of like, we're not profitable, right? Like I know there was just an article, Felipe Cardenas released it, I think either this morning or yesterday, about how Arthur Blank was just saying like, hey, no, we're doing pretty good.
He's like, we all making money, baby.
we're all crushing it. So it feels like that the players have a little bit more leverage than before. Do you get that sense at all?
Yeah, I think Blank's comments to Felipe certainly didn't help the cause of the league in these negotiations. I'm sure he got a call from Don Garber, but yeah, I think the players are definitely aware. I mean, the league hands over its financials to the players as part of these negotiations. So they're definitely aware of what the league has and how much money they're losing. But it's really easy to move money around to different things and put all of your losses in the teams, keep the profits and the revenue from Soccer United marketing separate. A lot of owners are writing off the losses in the league. How are they counting investments in training facilities and stadiums? Are those put down as losses when realistically those aren't losses? That's the way that the league is able to point and say, hey, we're not making a ton of money. Now, all of that being said, they are still well short of the major revenue streams that we see in other professional sports, both here and abroad, and that's in the television money. So I think that gives the league some leverage. What they're saying to the players is, until we see that TV money go up in a couple years, and how much it goes up, they're not sure, we're not going to commit to crazy spending. And the question is going to be, what do the players try to put in as a protection if that revenue does go up drastically? Can they put a clause in the CBA that says that the percentage between revenue to how much money is in the salary cap jumps with whatever that percentage goes up in revenue? Do they put in a clause where they can potentially opt out of the CBA if that revenue hits a certain number? Those are the types of things I think the players union is thinking about. But yeah, I would say in some ways that knowledge gives them a little bit more leverage, but the league still holds the vast majority of leverage in these CBA negotiations. And that's why we have to be ready for incremental change. I should say one of the bigger changes we could see that the players are really fighting for is the elimination of targeted allocation money. They don't love that the league administers that and rules who is eligible for TAM and who's not eligible for TAM. They'd rather just take that $4 million total and put it into the salary cap and let teams use it as they will. The league wants to hold on to TAM. So that's, I think, one of the big points of contention in negotiations right now.
Just for those of us who don't understand me, why is that leverage for the league? Why is TAM something that they want to keep? Like, what exactly gives them leverage because they have that?
It's control. They can control what teams are doing on their rosters. And basically, when they created TAM, the idea behind it was to improve spots 4 through 8 or 9 on the roster. They didn't want TAM used to give guys already in the league raises. The intention was to improve the level of play in the league, improve the on-field product. And if they didn't essentially trust the general managers and the teams to use that money in the right way. So they said, okay, here's this money, but the conditions are X, Y, and Z, more than the senior maximum budget charge, right? Between that and $1.5 million, or $1 million more than the budget charge. And, you have to use it on players coming from abroad or for a player being bought down as a DP. So they put all these rules on it, and then they were approving and denying TAM for the first year of its existence. They love that control. Any more control that they can exert over the teams, they will. And that's the reason the league loves it. They want to make sure that in their eyes, money is being used properly. Now, the problem with that is for every team, for every market, what's valuable is different. A player in Salt Lake City is going to be different value to a player in Atlanta or LA. And so that's where it starts to become very difficult. And there were some clear inefficiencies with that idea of TAM, including the fact that a lot of teams were taking a $400,000 player from abroad and saying, you know what, we're going to pay you $600 because it makes better budget sense for us, because then we can buy you down with TAM instead of you being a $400,000 player on our roster. If we pay you $200 more and buy you down with TAM, you're $150. That's a market inefficiency. That's bad business for MLS. So I think there will be some changes. I don't think the league is going to win this one, but there is a clause in the CBA called the management clause. It basically gives the league power to change rules as they see fit outside of these CBA negotiations, which is how TAM came about in the first place, about a couple months after the last CBA was agreed. So I wouldn't be surprised if they relinquish some of that control with TAM and then introduce something else that gives them more control to exert on the teams.
How are we still in a place where the league does not trust its general managers and its team presidents to operate a club properly, right? It seems like that we should be moving to a place where the people in those positions know what they're doing.
Or at
right?
the very least, how come, especially someone like yourself, how come we're not in a place where those GMs are leaking that information when those situations don't happen to create a bit more of a groundswell to hopefully push for that change, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw some of that, to be fair. I wrote about it last year when Tim Parker got denied a contract. Walker Zimmerman was being denied a contract. CJ Sapong. It wasn't a coincidence that I started to hear about those incidents. GMs were upset. The agents were upset. The players were upset. Everyone was upset. And I think the biggest counter argument you can make is this league wants to get better, and it's looking for ways to get better. And how can you ever get better if you're protecting the worst general managers in the league from themselves? What you want to have happen is there are always going to be teams that fail. That's the way sports work. And if you allow those GMs and teams to fail on their own merits, then they eventually get fired and replaced. And you hope that the next GM is better at his job. And that's how people get better. And the league really isn't allowing that to happen in some ways. Obviously, people are still getting fired and hired and all of that. But, these protections put into place, they're really done more for the control from the league side than they are done to help or hurt other teams. I mean, there's no GM that wants the league looking over their shoulder constantly. And by the way, other leagues have these central offices that help teams, but that's all they do. They assist teams with questions. They help clarify salary budget rules, how a guy can fit under contract. They don't administer decisions about where a player falls on a roster, or they don't involve themselves in negotiations. So this league still has a long way to go in giving autonomy to the teams and the owners. And I think it's going to be a big point of contention, not just in this CBA, but in the next CBA, because they're never going to give up full control at once. And I can promise you, there are the vast majority of teams and general managers that really want to see this happen, that want to see the reins loosened from MLS HQ in New York.
Wow. So listen, stop snitching unless it's to Paul Tenorio. We're all for that.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask a couple things, but I want to start first with there's been a lot of Liga MX players coming to Major League Soccer. Has this changed?
And Christian doesn't like it.
No, I'm more than happy about it.
Yeah.
We just saw, I don't know if it's confirmed that you had reported about Rodolfo Pizarro possibly going to Miami, that the deal is being sorted out. Has this changed the dynamic of your job, where now all of a sudden you're going to have to call some people, general manager in Mexico, and now it seems like the pool is sort of growing of it's becoming, MLS is becoming much more global than ever before.
WhatsApp is a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm using it a lot more recently. I'll tell you that much. It's an interesting dynamic that's happening, right, between these two leagues that are trying to compete more against each other and capitalize on the strengths of each other. So for Liga MX, obviously, there's a massive audience here in the United States that are watching those teams, loyal to those teams. MLS wants a piece of that pie. On the flip side, MLS is, it's a really strong business. It understands how to produce events, and it's got strong ties to the TV industry here. Mexico wants to capitalize on the things that MLS does well on the business side. So I don't think it's a coincidence that as these leagues study each other more and compete with each other more, we're seeing more interaction between the two. Talking to a bunch of GMs recently for a story I'm writing about this topic, I asked what's been the biggest difference. Well, from the player side of it, you're coming to a league that's very stable in MLS. You know when your paycheck's coming, that it's going to be there on time. That your life is going to be much calmer in the United States than it is in Mexico, both because, the fans there, they take things a little bit more seriously. I think the American culture, we don't really, even in the most brazen moments there, we leave celebrities alone pretty much. Even like if you were playing for the Lakers, if you're LeBron and you go out in a club in New York after playing the Knicks, nobody's shouting you down. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Maybe that's the wrong team to bring up. But for the most part, there's a calmer culture in the American kind of celebrity culture. So I think it's and also you have to be able to get recognized, right? So I think that's a big part of it. From the team side of it, I think the biggest difference has been the money that's come into Major League Soccer is different. And as a result, Liga MX has always outspent MLS and continues to outspend MLS. But players that weren't really available to MLS when it was kind of in its last variation of its spending, which was, either spend big money on big names, the Pirlos and the Kakas and the David Villas of the world, or you don't spend. Now we're seeing teams looking elsewhere for talent that are more in their prime, and it's really easy to go into Mexico and buy these players for prices that fit that DP model. And so you're seeing transfers for 10 million, 12 million, 8 million for players out of Mexico. It really fits the MLS model. I think a lot talking to GMs also, when they scout these leagues, they believe that successful attacking players in Mexico translate well to this league that's becoming more wide open, where the money is spent, the vast majority of money is spent on the attacking end. And so they makes it easier to project how that player is going to perform in Major League Soccer. Meanwhile, the Mexican teams are counting their money, man, because I think MLS right now is still spending a little bit above market value. And Liga MX teams are not dumb. They're saying, hey, you want to pay $10 million, $15 million for this guy that we re-rate as an $8 million player? Absolutely. Happy to offload him to you. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Now, Liga MX players coming in is absolutely a wonderful thing. Turning a little bit to new teams coming into MLS, the Nashville situation, we heard positive things, and then all of a sudden, we stopped hearing such positive things, and everything's kind of turned.
Yes, they're dealing with a possible. Yeah. Their stadium was supposed to be. Construction was supposed to start.
We hear they're going to start playing at Yankee Stadium. I mean, that's how rough things are going there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where we are today, and what is the actual picture? What should we really expect? Because there was a report on MLSsoccer.com that said like 70% of their ticket sales are season tickets, but now we're hearing they only have 5,000 season tickets. So if that's the case, ain't no one going to be at the stadium besides Atlanta United fans for their home game. Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a while now we've been hearing reports. We've been hearing things from sources that MLS is concerned about Nashville. They're concerned about the performance of ticket sales. They're scared about the readiness of the club for its transition into Major League Soccer. They're just worried that they're not ready for this ramp up that happened rather quickly on one end, and on the other end, they've had some runway to get this right. I think it was like 6 or 7 months ago that my colleague Pablo Maro was hearing that there were issues with the stadium in Nashville, and we got denial after denial after denial. And now you flash forward, and there's public back and forth happening between the mayor and the league, who are essentially they're reprimanding publicly the political figures in Nashville for not tearing down a stadium and beginning construction. It's clearly problematic right now, and I think it's essentially become a public negotiation. And the goal here, I think, is to kind of galvanize the people in Nashville to try to support the team and the vote that occurred, or the vote of confidence, certainly from the politicians prior, in order to land a Major League Soccer team in the market and say, hey, look, this is on you guys. The ball's in your court. We're ready to move forward as a league to build, and it's not happening. How that's going to play out, though, is a big question mark. We don't really usually see this. I think it's kind of a late tactic to try to exert pressure on a politician, and it's going to be up to that politician how he handles it. I'm interested to see this drama play out, but I certainly think that it's a red flag for this market, and it's something to keep an eye on, not just in this inaugural season, but kind of how things continue to unfold, because it is concerning. And Major League Soccer hasn't had to deal with this. If you look at the expansion teams that have come in over the last 10 years or so, it's always been a success story. It's always had this great, huge launch. Atlanta, positivity. Orlando, the crowds were amazing to start off with. Minnesota, they're on the field, they were terrible, but off the field, they performed so well. So, this is a new problem for Major League Soccer, where a market that they're going into doesn't look like it's going to be an instant success off the field.
Yeah, it's funny because I've seen the Nashville, I think it was either the team or the team president or somebody, scold the mayor by offering him $19 million to settle this whole issue. So that's
someone scold us. Listen, Paul, thank you so much for being on. You said you have an article coming out. Everyone can find you in The Athletic. Also, what are your posts, your socials, whatever you want to plug?
Just at Paul Tenorio on Twitter. And guys, I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Magee, but just know that I got a drink with Mike Magee before you guys got a drink with Mike Magee. So I'm still right here above you guys.
Good point.
We'll beat you to something.
Thank you, Paul Tenorio, for joining us. We'll be back with more after this.
What a great interview with Paul Tenorio.
You know what? I'm going to say this on camera. I love Paul Tenorio.
That's right, Paul. We're in love with you, Paul.
I know you didn't expect to find out this way,
Yeah.
But, hey, man, this is how it is.
You didn't see it, but Christian kissed the screen you were on, dude. I don't know if you felt the tingle out there in Chicago.
It'll be in the behind-the-scenes documentary about the Cooligans.
In the behind the music.
But thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thrilled about our next guest.
The guests don't stop.
It doesn't stop.
We got a revolving door. A celebrity's here.
Yes, our next guest. You may have seen him. Bouncing around with the LA Galaxy a little bit.
Box to box, maybe.
Okay. Also the Chicago Fire. Just an absolute legend. Just an important figure in Major League Soccer. Please introduce our guest, Alexis.
I can't believe he's here, okay? I don't know why. Why are you even driving? This is too exciting. So pull over so you can put both your hands together for the one, the only, our designated player, Mike Magee, everybody.
Hey! Michael.
Well, first of all, I love Paul Tenorio too. So
Look at that.
This guy it's a tough act to follow.
This show ain't about Paul. It's about us.
Mike Magee, this is wild. We're absolutely thrilled that you are in this room. I'm excited. This is my first time meeting you. You hung out with Alexis in Grand Rapids, Michigan,
which is where you meet all MLS big name players in Grand Rapids. How did we both get hoodwinked into going to Grand Rapids, Michigan?
I have no clue what happened there. Kyle Martino just threw some kind of spell on us, and I woke up and somehow I was in an Uber. And
You drove from Chicago. You took an Uber from Chicago to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah,
is that a 3-hour Uber?
I have no idea. I slept the night before.
You did sleep.
I'm gonna humble brag right now. The night before, I got inducted in the Chicago Sports Hall of Fame.
Wow!
So I slipped that in there. So
and you said, "What do you do?" And you said, "Instead of going to Disney World, I'm going to Grand Rapids."
So as you can imagine, I told him I couldn't make it, couldn't drive. He's like, "What if I called you an Uber?" I'm like, "I'll at least some part of me will show up." So I slept most of it.
He's not making this up. I remember the phone calls. They're like, "You know what? If he flies, it's about the same." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "You're not thinking about putting Mike Magee."
You remember the bags under my eyes? That's what you meant to say.
You can't possibly. And they're like, "Don't worry, he's gonna sleep." And I'm like, "Well, this driver is gonna be like, you're doing what?" When that came up in the app, he was like, "This seems broken."
Hey, just put him in the trunk. He'll be fine.
I remember I got a phone call from Kyle Martino, and he was like, I had sort of.
And just so people know, this was for the Over-Under initiative. There was an event,
But there was an event here in New York where it was, he had 2 microphones and no one was really taking control of the second mic. So I just picked it up and started talking into it, and I took control of the whole event. And I apologized to everyone afterwards. But he called me and he's like, "Hey, you want to host an event for real? As opposed to just stealing someone's microphone?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, are you available on this day?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "So you're committing to it. You can do it." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Where is it?" He's like, "You're going to Grand Rapids, Michigan." And he hung up. That's how. And I'm not kidding. An email came up the next day with tickets to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
You got pranked.
Yeah. I was like,
when you grabbed the mic, I'm not gonna lie, I had no faith in you. I'm like, you all of a sudden you had me dying laughing the entire time.
Look at that.
In the beginning, I was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, I thought I was here for the kids, and all of a sudden he's cracking jokes.
Everybody,
I didn't want to laugh, and then all of a sudden,
Mike Magee, Alexis's wife, has no faith in it.
My mother, no one.
It's a common.
But wait, here's the change. He now believes in me.
I do.
So most people just continue to disbelieve. Now we've got someone turn.
Mike, we should at least start with. Huge fans of you. I mean, as when I started watching MLS and going to MLS games, I remember going to MetroStars games, early New York Red Bulls. You were that figure. You were one of these guys. I'm like, all right, these guys. He seems a little bit better than everybody else.
He's balling out here.
What has? I guess my first question is, what do you think of the league now? Do you almost wish that you were playing in it now with all these incredible clubs and giant fan bases? It's
incredible how far the league's come. I think especially since the year Beck's got here. Each year you could see it going up in the last 5-6 years, an insane amount. The pay makes me want to be playing right now.
I see it.
My hip tells me it's time to retire, but it's been really fun to watch the league. And the MetroStars is a good pull.
Yeah,
it's a really good pull. That's good respect.
You texted some of the other older guys like, "Yo, we would have been tanned."
You talk so much shit. These guys are soft, spoiled.
4 charter flights. Well, la-di-da. They're complaining about it. You're like, 4? Yeah. I used to fly with one of the rookies on my lap.
Not that far from the truth.
It is incredibly impressive, and it's like now, and you're obviously a Chicago native, and obviously play for the Chicago Fire.
The accent.
Are you? He's definitely our first MVP. Have we had another MVP on?
Besides me, no.
Okay,
I mean, this is
okay. I'm glad we sorted that out. But even you mentioning being a part of the Chicago Hall of Fame, like, what did that mean to you to be recognized to that degree?
It's cool, man. Especially since I stopped playing in 2016, and then you notice that no one really cares about you anymore. So 2 years removed or whatever it was, then getting a reward it's cool. You think you're just done and you're forgotten about, especially in your hometown. And my family was there and friends, so it was cool, and we obviously celebrated that night, and that's when we met.
You should have seen how he showed up to Grand Rapids. No one sleeps in an Uber to Grand Rapids.
I had a huge bag, and everyone's like, "Dude, you're coming for one day." I'm like, "Dude, it's a pillow and a blanket.
Yeah.
It's chill." So I slept the whole way.
Mike, now you watching, so much happening in MLS. It's incredible, like all the different changes. When you think back to when you started and a rookie coming in now, like if you could talk to the rookies coming in this season, like what would you say the difference is between when you started and what they got?
I don't even know where to start. Not taking it for granted. When you mentioned the Metro Stars, I remember back in those days, and we had like 13 rookies, and we used to not see the importance of where the sport was growing. So we might have celebrated life outside of soccer a little too much, and maybe not taken it as seriously as we probably could have. But that, and it's over in a blink of an eye. I mean, I played 14 years, and when the day it ended, it seemed like it was 3 years. So wow. So it happens to you quickly,
very quickly.
You one of my favorite things what happens in soccer Twitter, especially American soccer Twitter, is goalkeeper players that have to go and goal, and yours always comes up. It's probably about 3-4 times a year. Somebody will post it, and it'll
I watched this game live.
Okay, good. It's great.
I mean, I wasn't there. I was watching it on TV, but I remember watching like.
I had
no
Josh,
offense, but you weren't the shortest dude on the field.
I had Josh Saunders' jersey on, looked like a skirt, and Donovan Ricketts' gloves. They were the first save I made. The entire glove flipped all the way around.
Yeah, hilarious.
And so most people. So if people do not know, this was June 25th, 2011.
You were with the LA Galaxy.
Yep.
And it was versus the California Classico. It was against
the Smurfs,
Yeah.
I love it.
Shot still fired.
And like you said, Donovan Ricketts was injured, and then Josh Saunders got a red card.
But that was the same game that Lennart headed the ball out of. And I said this to you in person. I remember he was running behind Josh Saunders, and I go, it'd be cool if he headed the ball because you can't touch it with your hands. And then he did it. I'm like, I might be too powerful. I wish money would fall from the sky. I swear on my life, I had that thought. And then he does it. And for some reason, they didn't give him a red card. You're not allowed to do that. But I think he got into a scuffle, and that's how Saunders gets
Josh might have elbowed him a little bit, and he might have made a meal of it. But the ref wasn't with us that day.
Yeah, no, Lennart was one of those beasts. He could just flop anytime he wanted. It was great. And then all of a sudden, there's no backup. Like, you can't put another one in because it was who's the first goalkeeper?
Donovan Ricketts. And then all of a sudden it was Josh Saunders is out. So there was like a 30-second pause of people trying to decide what happens. What happened in that moment? How did you get the call?
I was looking at the clock, and it was like 36th minute or something. And I'm thinking, shit, I want to play goalie. Oh my God, I'll make it to half. I think I can make it 9 minutes or whatever it was. And I'm playing left mid, so I'm next to Bruce. I'm like, Bruce, who's going to play goalie? And he goes, you think I fucking know? I'm like, all right, that's me. So I walked back like I'm relaying the message to the team, and I was like, what are we doing? He's like, Bruce said I'm going in. He said, Bruce said it's me. And then I remember at halftime, I'm sitting there at halftime, and now I'm thinking, all right, I did my job, got in, taking the gloves off.
You gave no goals up.
No goals yet.
Yeah.
Well,
and you were down a man.
We're down a man. So at halftime, I'm thinking I'm going to get to go back out, or I'm going to go back on the field. Bruce has got some master plan.
Yeah.
And I remember it dawned on me. He's like, dude, we can't even let him shoot because they're going to score on Magee. I'm like, wait, I got to go back, out there.
You're like, what you mean, gun up? Well, so does Gunna. I keep hearing.
Okay, this team talk ain't going the way I planned.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
You're in the showers. You're like, I thought I was.
So luckily it worked out, and I'll chalk that up to another thing that while I was playing, I hated it. It was just the only thing people spoke about. But now it's cool getting to relive those
Yeah.
days.
I mean, as you played goalie like as a kid though, you said, right? Never. Your first time ever playing goalkeeper was in that moment.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great planning.
Bruce is a genius.
I'm starting to see what happened in Trinidad and Tobago. To be completely honest with you.
I can't
that's going to be clipped out, just so you know. You don't call. He doesn't co-sign what I just said. But when as players, like these players that are running towards you with the ball, what's going through your head?
I had zero respect for goalies up until the first cross came in, and then there's actually one that keeps showing up on the highlight tape where I'm gonna catch it, and it's an easy cross. At the last second, I just kind of push it into the middle of the field, and it's the only one I wish they'd removed from the highlight tape. You'll know what I'm talking about. Somebody crosses it, and I hit it just into traffic. Just push it. The last second.
You're like, get it out of here. Put it in this net.
Dude, I got Omar Gonzalez is running at me. My own guys. So I got a newfound respect for goalies after that day for sure.
Yeah, but they must have been incredibly. Your teammates must have been proud of you after.
It was incredible. I mean, the way they rallied, and it was bizarre. Greg Berhalter and AJ, and it was kind of the turning point in our season. But the way they played, I might have made one good save at the end there, but the way they played, blocking shots and running around, and those guys must have gotten 4 days off that week because they were all dead.
I'm sure.
And I get all the credit for it, and I take it. I'll take the credit. But those guys,
it's because of me, boys.
Well, you guys won MLS Cup that year as well. I mean, this must have been like something that kind of motivated you guys.
It was. We celebrated again. Seems like I celebrate a lot, right?
That's all we're talking about.
Which is good segue. Good segue into what I did after soccer.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about now?
You won MLS Cup.
And won MLS Cup. And
that night, we all went out and had a blast. The only time I left, I celebrated a tie. And there was definitely a turning point in a way the group came together, and we won MLS Cup. So that was.
Was there a part of you that was like, Bruce, put me in for the end of MLS Cup? Put me in goal for the end of it.
Never again. the amount of times somebody will ask me to go in goal, never in practice, never. I will not do it.
You got to do it in a pickup game. It'd be hilarious. We got more with Mike when we get back.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. One audible, right? Very late.
We're so smooth here.
Clearly, that's a false start or something.
Somebody threw a flag.
Welcome back. Yes, we have. There's a box here that we should address, Alexis.
Absolutely. Now, this you sent us this.
I did.
We've never done an unboxing with the unboxee here.
Exactly, and he didn't even bring it with him because he just got off of a plane. But no, he brought had the box sent here.
Which I've always wanted to do with my luggage. When you fly somewhere, just mail it first, so you don't have to bring anything with you to the airport.
Alexis did tell me either bring it or don't even show up. So
Okay,
maybe that happened.
Okay,
you want to put that box away?
Yeah, let's get rid.
Okay, this is okay.
All right.
Booze.
So this is
What are we looking at here?
Sneaky Fox.
Terrible logo label for the TV because it's all reflective. But it says Sneaky Fox vodka, gluten free.
Just for you, yeah.
Okay, for all the basic out there.
Yeah, it's really important to Alexis.
Can we try? I mean, we have glasses here,
yes,
so we're going to try.
Can you tell us? So, Mike Magee, tell us about Sneaky Fox vodka a little bit.
My brand, it's vodka, gluten free.
This is yours.
It is mine. No, it's something I did while I was playing. I started looking into the spirits industry. I really want to do whiskey. Omar Gonzalez, Landon Donovan, and I, we take our win bonuses and we buy like Johnny Walker, Louis XIII, too expensive of stuff, and then we'd only drink it after wins. So as
so far we know there's bonuses, right? There's a lot we don't know about MLS.
They grew since I played. So when I got done playing, I wanted to make a small batch whiskey or bourbon, and obviously pivoted to doing something a little bigger and kind of been running with it.
This is this is incredible. I haven't tried it yet. I hear about it all the time, especially in Chicago, because I honestly, whenever we're in Chicago,
become the thing instead of Malort?
Yeah, that's what we always
make Sneaky Fox the thing you make people that aren't from Chicago.
Those are the two things we always hear about. What are your thoughts on Malort?
Oh man, it's a Chicago Staples, right? You know, I like it sucks. It's
Your
disgusting.
pizza stinks. Your booze stinks.
It sucks. It's disgusting,
Why
but
Chicago?
I love it.
You have to say that.
Yeah.
You have to say that.
Yeah, you felt me. You felt me having to say it there.
I
Like,
know you don't like it. No one likes it.
Yeah.
My favorite part about my Lord, as soon as you take the shot, everyone who told you to take the shot goes, "It's terrible, right? Why are you making me do this?"
Well, cheers. Thank you for sending us a bottle. What an honor.
Yeah, I'll put the.
Yeah, let's do it. Cheers to Sneaky Fox. All right.
What should we be tasting? Notes of paint thinner.
Oh boy.
Oh, you guys.
That's
I'm
actually
not
really
man
great
enough
vodka.
for this beverage.
You guys might appreciate the reason I named it. So first time I ever drank, we'll say I was 18 for all the kids out there.
Okay, yes,
But
still
that's
not
still
legal age.
What are you from Montreal?
Well, you'll know the rest now. So my dad caught me. My dad's a big dude. He's like 6'4". Anyways, he catches me and he calls me a sneaky fuck, and then beat the shit out of me. So
Wait, so you drank his booze?
Yeah. So that's my oldest memory drinking. I think that the beating I took inspired me to play some soccer and take off drinking for a while. So this is my entry back.
Okay.
It's a great vodka, by the way. You can drink it on its own. And I guess we should probably come up with our own brand of vodka from our first memory of drinking. So instead of Sneaky Fox, I'll go with Coño tu madre, pendejo. Fox.
Okay. It reminds me of my mother.
Oh, mama. She's not dead. I don't know why. I need
The nostalgia.
Pero que coño vodka.
Mike, we had a question from one of our Gully Squad members. So these are like our more devoted fans. And this is a very specific thing. And I'm curious if you remember this. So this was a U.S. Open Cup match in 2014 against the Atlanta Silverbacks. Robin Seguini, she asked, do you remember us kind of teasing you and saying mine, like in Finding Nemo, but they were saying Mike, and then and she remembered she thinks you got red carded soon after. Do you remember this?
I don't remember the Mike, but that was the funniest red card of my life.
What happened?
Dude, I don't even know. Me and another guy came in close. And we both kind of leaned our heads in, and at the same time did the fake, and he gave us both the red card.
Whoa!
But the best part was, as I get back on the mic here, the best part was even after it happened, we both kind of came together like, oh, my bad. As we're apologizing, red. In the first half.
Unbelievable.
Now, it was on one of the worst fields I ever played on, so it was actually maybe a little
kind of lucky, yeah.
Kind of lucky, but
that's hilarious that you both faked it so well that you both got red cards.
It was bad. The ref made a mistake, or we did one or the other. But what do you do? Go
for steak during the second half? Like, what do you and that guy do now?
He was not happy with me. No. I don't know. We won the game and then lost the next week to Seattle, and I couldn't play. So that was a big mistake.
All right.
So remember looking back on things you're supposed to tell the young players.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't headbutt anybody. And then
all right,
play goalkeeper. And oh my God, thank you so much, Mike Magee.
Incredible, man. Absolute honor, for real.
And this isn't the Sneaky Fox booze talking. This is for real. It means so much that you were on, man.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. So make sure you support Sneaky Fox vodka,
especially if you're in Chicago, right?
Exactly. And follow Mike Magee on all social channels. Follow us at Soccer Cooligans.
And thank you to Paul Tenorio for being on the show today.
That's right. He was incredible as well. We learned a lot.
Learned a lot about MLS contracts that we've already forgotten.
Yes.
Mike, that's how confusing it is.
Yes, if Mike was here during Paul's thing, he'd be like, okay, where's all this money come from?
Damn.
Because I didn't see this when I was playing. So thank you, Mike. Did you have a good time on the show?
I had a blast, yeah. Honestly did.
Incredible. So, and thank you, because I know you're in town for the MLS kit reveal event. So it's an absolute honor that we got an MVP on the show.
That's right. We bring the stars here. They come here first.
Okay, and then we crash parties.
That's right. We showing up anyway. Delivery boxes dressed like UPS guys.
All right, so thank you so much for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. So for Mike Magee, my name is Christian Polanco.
And I'm Alexis Guerrero.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans!